Milli Vanilli is a pop duo who ruled the charts in the late 80s with other music superstars like Madonna and Michael Jackson. The pair's debut album, Girl You Know It's True, spawned the #1 songs, and the success of that album catapulted Fab Morvan and Rob Pilatus, who made up the duo, into fame, and they became household names. But then came the scandal that changed their lives forever. This is how the duo Milli Vanilli got caught as the biggest fraud in music. Let's dive in, shall we? The beginning. It all started when the German record producer Frank Farian was in a disco in his native country, when he heard the song Girl You Know It's True by the Baltimore band Newmarks, and immediately knew it could be a bigger hit. So he set out to assemble a team to recreate a new version, taking the original hip-hop track and mixing it with a bit of Eurodance, according to Billboard. He started recruiting singers in 1988. Sisters Linda and Jody Rocco sang backup, and Charles Shaw rapped on the track. Shaw says Farian admitted it wasn't a new song, but he still went with it and just started mixing voices. You can't really hear the vocals or exactly who's singing, because there are so many voices on the chorus, he said. Eventually, Brad Howell and John Davis were brought in for vocals. There was no denying that Farian knew what he was doing. His version of the song quickly became popular in Europe. Now he just needed faces to go along with the music group. At the time, New York-born, German-bred Pilatus and Guadeloupe native Morvan were living in a housing project in Munich, poor to the point they stole food to survive. When Farian came along and offered each of the dancers $4,000 to become the faces of the duo Milli Vanilli, named after the nickname of Farian's girlfriend. Farian came back after the song hit the charts in England and said he had to have 2 faces for the project. Shaw continued, I was already paid $12,000 for doing Girl, and he said, keep your mouth shut and you can do the whole album. I'm thinking, that's studio work for me. Had Farian realized how popular the group would become, he may have realized the dancers' accents, with Pilatus' mother tongue of German and Morvan's of French, would be an issue. Linda and Jody were also brought back in for more vocals. There was no real plan. We were just recording stuff real fast to get enough together for a 4-song EP for the American market. Then Frank said Arista was involved, and he was talking to Clive Davis, Linda said. Sure enough, soon there was a record deal, so they figured there was a group. But when they got to the studio, it was just Linda, Jody, and another singer, Joan Falker. Pilatus and Morvan would come in and go down to the basement where the pool was and hang out for a couple hours, Jody said. They'd make appearances, then go down to the basement, but they never sang a note or went into the studio. Moving on, facade and fame. Somehow they were able to keep up the facade. They were able to keep a music label rep from traveling to Germany by saying they wanted to retain creative direction. It wasn't out of the question, the Arista A&R manager at the time, Richard Swerett, told Billboard. Other producers would do their work and send it in. They just didn't want anyone in the studio with them, because it's a creative, professional distance a producer wants to have. I respected that, and there was no reason to think that it was anything other than that. But there was a lot of fishy business going on. Howell would be taken to the studio late at night, even after all the other staff was gone, so that no one would know he was the true voice. It was a secret, the engineer on the album, Tobias Freund, said. We worked in the evening and closed the windows. Soon, the music video for Girl You Know It's True was a global hit, and Milli Vanilli also had 4 other hit songs, Blame It on the Rain, Girl I'm Gonna Miss You, and Baby Don't Forget My Number, which all hit #1 and All or Nothing, which peaked at #4. In short, they were everywhere. And with that, the suspicions started to come. Every time we gave an interview, the reporters would hear my French accent or Rob's German accent, and they'd say, no way. How could these guys have sung the songs? Morvan told the Los Angeles Times. They even had dialect specialists brought in, paid by Arista Records, to try to help the situation. But fast fame didn't make it easy. We didn't want to do any more interviews. Pilatus added. The more we talked, the worse things got. But fans were in love. The duo made an appearance in Los Angeles where they were mobbed to the point that the cops were brought in. After all, they had the looks, moves, and charisma. They were just lacking the vocal talent that it was all built on. Now are you ready? Disaster, drama, an amp, downfall. With that level of confidence, it's no wonder they were comfortable getting up in front of a live crowd and performing. Plus, in that era, it wasn't unusual for singers to lip sync since the live demands of running around a stage could get in the way of vocals. As they enjoyed the trappings of fame, Rob and Fab struggled to live with their secret. On July 21st, 1989, the group's backing tape malfunctioned during a Club MTV Tour stop in Bristol, Connecticut. As the words, "Girl, you know it's," repeated over and over, Rob panicked and ran off stage. The incident had no immediate effect on their career, but Rob would later call the mishap the beginning of the end. Oddly, they weathered that 1989 performance and went on to win at the AMAs and Grammys in 1990. Figuring their time was running out, Rob and Fab turned against Farian and demanded to sing on their next album. As the battle intensified, Farian had no choice but to call a press conference and spill the beans. He was unapologetic about the scam, and in 1991, he released The Moment of Truth, a new studio album credited to the real Milli Vanilli, that is, the singers from the first album. Arista, meanwhile, claimed no prior knowledge of the deception, though Rob and Fab insisted the label knew exactly what was going on. Days after Farian's press conference, Rob and Fab called their own. They were joined by a voice coach who assured the audience that, yes, they could sing. Also, as a result, Milli Vanilli was stripped of their Grammy Award, and their music sales plummeted. The scandal also triggered numerous lawsuits from disgruntled fans, demanding refunds for their purchases. Beyond financial consequences, the scandal prompted a re-evaluation of the industry's standards and ethics, leading to discussions about authenticity and the pressure to maintain a certain image in the public eye. The fallout was devastating for Rob and Fab. They released a self-titled comeback album in 1993 and even appeared on the Arsenio Hall show to sing for real in front of a national audience. But Rob and Fab flopped, and the two former idols wrestled with drug addiction. To lose everything so publicly was harsh. Morvan said on Oprah Winfrey's Where Are They Now? "You don't know where to turn to because there's nobody around you, you're left alone. We were famous and now we're infamous just like that." While he eventually found his way back to EDM music, Pilatus never rebounded. Rob Pilatus didn't do well with humiliation. Morvan continued. "Being punched every day in the public eye leaves marks. The only way he could deal with it, for him, was the addiction." Tragically, Pilatus was found dead at 33 in Frankfurt on April 2, 1998, of a suspected overdose. When I heard the news of Rob's death, everything went blank at that moment. Silence, Morvan said. "It was like losing a part of myself. In order to honor him, and for myself, I set a vow that I would do my thing. And I would make sure the name Milli Vanilli itself means when you fall, you stand back up, and you move on." Sad, isn't it? And that's the video, guys. Do click the like and subscribe buttons down below if you found this shocking. To make sure you don't miss any uploads, tap the bell icon. Share this video and provide all of your feedback in the comments section. Catch you in the next one.